if you're doing broiler farming or you're planning to start a broiler farm, these 7 questions which they normally ask me will save your farm, will save for you money at your farm, and also will save your birds from dying. So welcome back to our YouTube channel here at Uganda Growers. Today I'm answering the most common questions which are being asked wherever I pass. So if you're a new subscriber, please subscribe to the channel so that you may not miss out to our practical tips. Just stick around, watch the video up to the end. Now let's dive into the video. So question 1 which they normally ask whenever I go is, how much capital do I need to start a broiler farming in Uganda or in any area where people are differently located? And I want to give a perfect answer to this particular question because it might help somebody also who is outside there. So you can start a broiler farm, or you can start broiler farming with as low as 300 to 1 million Uganda shillings, depending on the number of chicks. For beginners, I advise you start with 50 to 100 chicks. Learn the management skills, then expand slowly. Avoid wanting to begin with large amounts. For example, if you're a beginner and you want to start, there are simple things that you must learn along the way, okay? So I don't advise, even when you have money, to start big. So I advise somebody to begin with about 50 to 100 chicks. That will be like your learning purposes, yeah? So that is number 1 question which they normally ask. Don't just dive into this without planning. And it is always a good question because broiler farming, if you join it without having a good budget to know how much you need, it is risky and dangerous. You might end up being stressed and you get hypertension. So you can start with as low as 300 to 1 million Ugandan shillings, depending on the number of birds, okay? Yeah, so do not rush. Please start small but have a vision. Start small but have a vision, okay? You can start with 50, but your vision is 5,000 broilers, okay? So just start with that. I hope that question will help somebody who is wanting to start a farm, yeah? The other question which they always ask me is about what causes sudden death in broilers and how can I prevent it, yeah? There are so many things that causes death in broilers, but I'm going to mention a few of them. 1, sudden death are caused by heat stress, okay? When there is a lot of heat in the structure, like this one, you're going to have a lot of mortality. So we advise you have a well-aerated house like this in your farm. Don't just have an enclosed structure because it is going to cause for you a lot of problems, yeah? Birds will just die suddenly and you will not even have a solution apart from having a well-aerated house like this. And the house should be east to west direction, and that's how you're going to be surviving the sudden death. Then the other thing is also poor ventilation. Still, it is like back to the structure. If you have a house which is poorly ventilated, it is going to cause for you sudden death, because when these birds have any respiratory sickness, they are going to ask you to have a place which there is enough oxygen. But now, if you don't have a well ventilated house, it is going to just accumulate ammonia and then the birds will suddenly die. Then the other one is diseases. You have to make sure that you identify a sick bird. For example, for us, when you see in this place there is a bird which we saw, it was not so good, so we isolated it as we observe. It is on treatment, it got some coccidiosis, but we are helping it, okay? to make sure that it survives. So you have to rush and give the medication which is required for the birds to be okay. Then the other one is bird feeds. Okay, when you give the birds bird feeds or you leave them to eat dirty food, it is going to affect their throat. Okay, and when they affect their throat, they will suddenly die. Okay, sometimes when you have few birds, they will help you to learn what has caused those death, and then you will learn how to you will implement the solutions as soon as possible. And even when you have too much birds, you're going to be aware of those things. So when you're there, please be aware of that. And then of course the other one is dirty water. If you're giving the birds water, make sure that the water is clean, just like the way you see ours. These birds, they really enjoy when they take clean water. It's just like people, okay? When you, a human being, you cannot take dirty water, it means even these birds cannot take dirty water. But if you allow them to take dirty water, it simply means that you want them to die. So make sure that you give them clean water. So to prevent, ensure there is good airflow. Okay, there is good airflow, there is good clean water, there is a good vaccination that takes place, and of course hygiene. Okay, you see, when you look at our litter here, it is very dry. Okay, very dry. So make sure that you have dry litter, okay, in your structure, and don't allow spillage, okay, from water, the water to pour down. When it pours down, it is going to attract a lot of infections, hence leading to sudden death at your farm. Okay, yeah. Then another question which they normally ask whenever I pass is what is the best feeding program for fast broiler growth? I have farmers who just come and then they say, give me a feeding program. I'm going to give you a feeding program. Use starter feeds for the first 2 weeks. Okay, use starter feeds for the first 2 weeks, and then after that, after the 2 weeks, finally give them what they give, what is called grower. And then after those, also that is for 2 weeks, then finally give them what they call finisher feeds until you sell them. Feeds must be fresh, clean, and of good quality. Okay, have food which is fresh and of good quality. Okay, if your birds are not having fresh food, they are going to be sick every time, because the food will not help them to grow, and they will even just become stunned. Okay, so look at these birds. These birds are just 2 weeks and 2 weeks and 5 days. Okay, but just look at them. We already have 1 kilo plus. Okay, but it doesn't just come. You have to make sure that everything is implemented. Okay, and when you look at these ones are the ones which were small. You try to isolate them so that they eat nicely. So those are all things that you are meant to put in position. Yeah. Then the other one is brooding. They always ask me that, how do I brood all the chicks to avoid death in the first 7 days? Now, with the brooding, you have to make sure that you have everything put. Okay, the first 7 days determine the success of your failure. Okay, the first 7 days determine your success or your failure. So make sure that you ensure proper heat in the structure, clean water, good feeds, and cleanliness. Keep the temperatures between 32 to 34 degrees in the first week, and reduce gradually. Always give glucose plus vitamins on day 1, and keep the chicks dry and warm. Okay, in doing that, it's going to be helping you in managing your birds when they have grown. Yeah, so always give glucose and vitamins on day 1, and keep the chicks dry and warm. Doing that, it's going to be so the next question is how long do broilers take to mature, and when should I sell them? Yeah, that is a common question which people always ask. But this is a very simple question to answer, because these broilers are birds that grow between 4 to 5 weeks. Others go up to 6 weeks. Yeah, and you can attain 2 kilos at 6 weeks. Okay, and above. Yeah, so broilers mature in 5 to 6 weeks. Best selling age is 30 to 35 days. When feed cost is low and market demand is high, delaying too much increases feeding costs and reduces your profits. Okay, so in simple terms is, these birds, if you want to really make good money out of it, you are meant to sell it within the target time. Okay, if the 30 days have gamed and the birds are already weighing 2 kilos, please just rush and get the market and sell them out, because once they continue feeding, or they will be feeding on your profits. So make sure that you reduce the feeding costs and increase your profits at your farm. Okay, that is something that you are supposed to be aware of. Yeah. Then there is a question that somebody asked me and I wondered, was a new farmer but is asking me that which broiler breed is best for fast growth and profit. I even got impressed. Okay, because if you are a beginner, that means you've done some research on these broilers. Okay, so the best broilers, and I'm giving you a practical one like the one we use here, is in Uganda we have Cob 500, we have Rose 308, and this breed is Rose 308. It grows wider, it puts on the chest, very big, as you can see them. These ones are just 2 weeks and 5 days, but when you look at them, they are really fat. The meat is already there, and they are really doing well. So Rose 308, and we have the Abba Acres. These breeds grow fast, convert, feed well, and mature within 5 to 6 weeks. Always buy chicks from a trusted hatcheries to avoid weak birds and losses. So many times people go and just buy cheap birds, and then they end up having a lot of mortality on day 1, day 2, day 3. So buy birds from a trusted hatchery so that you may reduce on your mortalities. Okay, yeah, that is to do with the breed. So if there is something you need to be aware of or to be careful with, is where you source the old chicks. Yeah, so if this video has helped you, like, share and subscribe. Drop your question in the comments and I will answer them in the next video. This is Uganda Growers Farm, empowering farm for success. So thank you so much. This is Henry, a passionate poultry farmer here at Uganda Growers, right in Tororo, Eastern region. Thank you. Catch you very soon in another video.